Hello and welcome to Pickleball Therapy, the podcast dedicated to your pickleball improvement. Hope you're having a great week. This week's podcast, we're going to do something a little bit different. We've been doing several podcasts that are they're made for when you're on your way to the court. So the podcasts are designed to help you get ready for the day on the pickleball court. If you haven't checked those out yet, I highly recommend you check those out and tag those or save the links so that you can listen to them when you're going on your way to the pickleball courts. All the podcasts are designed for that. They're all great to do that for. There's a couple that are designed specifically to kind of talk you through your day. Today, we're going to be talking about what to do at the end of your day. So now you're at the end of your day. You finished playing your pickleball session. This podcast is designed to help you decompress, come out of the day, and perhaps if you're interested in improving, do this. If you're interested in improving, it's definitely going to give you some tips for how to get ready for the next time and play better pickleball. That said, let's get ready to decompress from our day. Hopefully you had fun out on the courts today. Hopefully you enjoyed your time out there. Remember, you played pickleball, right? So it's hard to be upset when you played pickleball. Did you play perfectly? I'm going to guess no. Nobody does. Even the best players in the world are seldom completely satisfied with everything they did on the pickleball court. The ones we see on TV, the ones that play just the most amazing pickleball in the world, literally. You can ask them after they've played, and usually they'll find some 1 or 2 or 3 or more things that they didn't do as well as they hoped to and could have done better. And that's one of the beauties of pickleball or any activity like it, is that as long as you're willing to challenge yourself and push yourself and be curious and grow, you'll always have something to work on. So let's knock out the first thing we need to knock out when you get off the court is, did you win or lose today? And let me be clear, I'm not talking about did you win or lose the games, right? Did you win or lose more of the games that you played today? That's not what's important. Did you win or lose in terms of getting what you came for? And let me explain it. Whenever we work with new pickleball players at camps and things like that, we always ask them, when I say new, it's pickleball players we haven't met yet before. We always ask pickleball players, why do you play pickleball? You know, what's the one word that defines your relationship with pickleball? If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do it. Take a minute. Pause the podcast. Think to yourself, what's the one reason I play pickleball? Right? Why do I get up in the morning? I'll let you pause it. And when you come back, I'll give you some of the ideas of what other players say when they play pickleball as to why they play pickleball. If you're listening to this podcast, you're a little more serious about your pickleball game than the average bear. When you're looking to improve your game, it sometimes can be difficult to know who to turn to or who to trust. Well, you can always trust me, Tony Roy, and CJ Johnson. We are 2 pickleball professionals dedicated to helping you become the best pickleball player you can be. Let's keep working at it together. All right, hopefully you came up with your word. What we hear all the time are things like, I play for fun, social, exercise, learning, addiction, obsession, all those types of words, right? What we never hear a pickleball player say is winning. No pickleball player ever tells us, I pick up my paddle and I get in the car and I drive to the courts because I want to win. That's not why they play. So let's not make that our metric. Let's not make that our determining factor, the winning or losing of the games. Let's not let that dictate how we did today. Rather than that, let's focus on, did you get what you came for? Did you get what you bargained for? And more specifically, I mean, if you came to get some exercise, did you get it today? Then it's good. Did you come to see your friends? Did you come to socialize? Get out of the house. Whatever your reason is, like your real reason for playing pickleball and not winning, as long as you got that, you're good to go. So you, by definition, got what you came for and had a good day. So let's go ahead and frame that out. I think that's really important to framing out what happened, on the pickleball court today. The other thing is, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of how you played today, I guaranteed you didn't do everything right. Nobody does. But I guarantee you did some things right, and I guarantee it wasn't all bad, right? If it was all bad, you probably wouldn't have come back to the pickleball court again. And the key is to keep in perspective that there's some good and some bad every time that we play. If we start just looking at it through the lens of everything is bad, then we start getting frustrated and getting upset with the sport, and we start losing the relationship we have with the game. So keep it in perspective and remember that your pickleball play is more like a journey, right? It's more like part of a overall journey that you're engaged in pickleball. And that journey will have some really high highlights and it'll have some low lowlights. That's like life, right? It's no different. So today, maybe you had high highlights, maybe you had low lowlights. In either case, they're steps along your journey. They're just waypoints along a journey that you're taking. And as long as your overall experience with the game is positive, you're getting what you came for. You got some exercise, you got some friends, you got out of the house, you got to compete a little bit. It's all good, right? You got a good deal with this sport called pickleball. So remember that no matter how you perform today, it's part of a bigger picture. It's part of a journey that you're taking as a pickleball player and as just a human being, and with pickleball being a part of your life. What I want to do in a second is and hopefully, before I do that, hopefully that helps you frame out a little better, your day-to-day, decompress a little bit from the day, put it in perspective, seeing a friend, hitting that one shot, all those types of things, look at it as take it in stride, right? Whether it was super good or not as good as you want it to be in terms of results, take it in stride and remember it's part of the journey. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to talk a little bit about your improvement as a pickleball player, if that's what you want to do. So if you have any interest in improving as a pickleball player and just becoming a better player, a more confident player, stay tuned and I'm going to give you some tips. The most complete pickleball resource available anywhere is the Pickleball System. Access to an unparalleled library of pickleball information, as well as your success path. You can find out more at thepickleballsystem.com. I'll link to it below. No matter how today ended, today's over. So there's nothing we can do to make it better and nothing we can do to make it worse in terms of how we played today. So if you made a fantastic shot, that'll never be taken away from you. If you missed a shot that you wish you would have made or wish you had done something differently in a certain situation, can't go back and do that again in hindsight, right? No time machine. But what we can do is if you hit a really good shot, we can continue working on our game to solidify that shot, right? To make it more consistent going forward. And if you missed a shot or did something that you wish you had done differently, can't fix the one from today, but perhaps we're going to fix the one for tomorrow. And if not the one for tomorrow, the one for next week or the week after, right? Remember, it's a journey. It's always trying to grow as players if that's what you want to do as part of your relationship with this game. So now that things are fresh, right? You just finished playing today. Maybe you're on your way home or you're at home already, or you're at the courts kind of decompressing there. Now is a really good time to make a couple of notes, right? Everything's fresh and you can make some notes as to what it is that happened in your game, right? So what is it that, are you missing mechanical shots? What that means is, say a lot of your balls are flying into the net, or a lot of your balls are going out long or wide, something like that, or your balls are traveling, too many of your balls. Don't worry about pop-ups. Pop-ups happen, right? But say that too many of your balls are being attacked, right? So that's a trajectory kind of a thing, or an energy kind of a thing. If you don't know what that is, we have a whole pickleball system that explains all that has to do with pickleball. But make a note, right? What type of things are happening in your game? Is it strategic, right? The missed shots are mechanical normally. Strategic would mean like, are you hitting the balls in the way that makes the most sense? Easy example is a deep return of serve. Really important shot, really overlooked shot. A lot of players do not play with deep returns of serve. It sets up the rally in a way that you don't want when you're returning serve. So are you returning deep? If not, make some notes. Those are strategic type of considerations, right? That you're trying to improve the strategy of your game. And so and the other thing would be athletic things, right? Athletic pillar is what we call it, the 3 pillars. If you're not familiar with the 3 pillars, highly recommend you get our guide on it. But the athletic pillar would mean like, did you get frustrated out there? Did you lose focus? Did you get tired? Did your legs start to hurt? Is your arm hurting? Those types of things. And so, because you need your body and your mind in order to play your best pickleball. So you write those things down, and then you're going to start building an action plan around those things. Now, to be clear, you can't do everything at once. And if you try, probably not going to succeed at that. What you want to do is write the notes and then prioritize, right? What's the most important thing that you want to try and work on, that you want to try and improve? I'm going to give you a framework now that comes from a book. The gentleman's name's Todd Kays. He's a sports psychologist. He wrote a book called Sports Psychology for Dummies. He's been with us on the summit. CJ had the opportunity to interview him. I've had the opportunity to speak with him. Very knowledgeable sports psychologist. As we broaden our knowledge in sports psychology from Coach Peter Scales and the Compete, Learn, Honor book, which we really like. We also add this book to our bookshelf now. If you're interested in the book, you can check out, you can go to our website, weareapickleball.com/resources. All of these books are there, links to the book so you don't have to remember them all. But let me give you a tip that comes out of Dr. K's book that I think you might find helpful in terms of your improvement and in terms of your, categorizing things and coming up with a plan. And he calls it the 3-2-1, which is the 3-2-1 is basically note 3, I'm reading out of his book, 3 positive things you did in the game or practice. It's important to remember that not everything you did was bad, right? As I mentioned earlier, there's a balance to these things. You got to gain perspective, or you should try and gain perspective. So 3 positive things that you did, write those down. Then write down 2 things you learned about yourself. And here's what's important. Instead of 2 ways you messed up, don't do that. Write down 2 things you learned about yourself. And then he says in here, see how the question is different. And that's important, right? Frame it properly and it'll be a more positive experience. And then the 3-2-1, right? 1 is one thing you're going to do in the next 24 hours to improve. That could be, I'll give you some ideas. So 1 would be, next time I'm going to play tomorrow, right? I'm playing today, I'm going to play tomorrow. Maybe I was hitting too many balls into the net. So I'm going to get there a little bit early. That's in the next 24 hours. And I'm going to hit balls over the net several times just to kind of see what that feels like, to get my body grooved to do that. That's one thing you're going to do. Let's say that you had problems with focus. Okay, one thing you can do is visit the website I gave you earlier, wearepickleball.com/resources. I'll link to it below. And you can order one of these books. That's an action that you're taking positively to impact your game. So think of 3-2-1 as being a good technique, a good way of framing out your next steps, if you will, as to improve as a pickleball player. Another thing you can do is, not another thing, the next step then after that would be, now you probably want to do some work, right? If you have the 3-2-1, now you have to work. So we flipped it around. CJ flipped it around in our camps and makes it a 1-2-3. So 1-2-3 works like this. Pick one thing out of the mechanical pillar. You can pick 2 things out of the strategic pillar. And the reason you pick 2 things out of the strategic pillar is because when you play, you're working on both the serve side and the return side. So for play purposes, you can pick 2. For practice purposes, we recommend only 1 thing. But you can pick 2 from the strategic side. And then you can pick 3 items off the athletic pillar. So maybe you pick a balance item to balance your body better. Maybe 1 stretching exercise to get your body more limber and avoid injury. And then perhaps 1 thing for your mind. And I will suggest this to you. Listening to this podcast constitutes working on your mind, right? Because you're framing it out, you're calming yourself, you're giving yourself perspective. All that's working on your mind. So listening to this therapy counts as work along the athletic pillar. So if you want to continue your journey and continue improving, consider using Dr. K's 3-2-1, and then you can use CJ and mine 1-2-3. And use those together to help you continue improving as a pickleball player. Remember, at the end of the day, the reason you play pickleball, whatever it is for you. If you got that today, you had a great day today. Go out there tomorrow or the next day next time you're gonna play pickleball. Enjoy yourself out on the pickleball court. Keep on building, keep on adding, and you'll get more confident, calmer every time, and enjoy the game more, and more. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Remember to tag this podcast if you want to listen to it in the future so that you can put it on after you've played and get you some perspective and hopefully continue along your pickleball journey to become your best version of a pickleball player. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.